It's Al Cole from CBS Radio, and I want to tell you about a Renaissance woman who excels at everything she puts her innovative mind to. And you know, I'm going to start it out like this. What would you say if I told you that I was going to introduce you to a lady who is a very successful business entrepreneur and a world-class creative force as a realtor, interior designer, hosts charity golf tournaments for wildlife, and is the cutting-edge author of the stunning Magical Forces Within? Well, Al, I'd say make the introduction, brother. I've just been dying to learn some of all of those things from somebody who sounds like a real magnetic lady. Well, you're in luck because not only can you learn about the fabulous life accomplishments of this woman, whose name happens to be Rhonda Grant, but week in and week out, Rhonda will introduce you to some of the most exciting guests on the planet as she hosts her own awesome podcast, The Rhonda Grant Show, on Contact Talk Radio. Week to week, Rhonda skillfully weaves the magical forces within her with the extraordinary discoveries in the sometimes ordinary lives of her guests who blossom before your very eyes through the guidance and know-how of such a skilled and sensitive host as Rhonda Grant. You got to check it out. Check out all the action at rhondagrantauthor.com. That's rhondagrantauthor.com to witness the extraordinary discoveries in otherwise ordinary lives. And I hear some of you asking right now, well, Al, how do you know all this? I'll tell you. It's because I weave some of the same magic on my own nationally syndicated show called People of Distinction. It's all about humanity at its best. Every guest with extraordinary things to say about the magical forces within life itself. Get it? So check them out. The Rhonda Grant Show, Extraordinary Discoveries in Ordinary Lives, and People of Distinction, created by me, Al Cole from CBS Radio, now hosted by my amazing son, Benji Cole. You can check out People of Distinction on Apple Music or email me for exciting updates on my music and my books too, especially Romance for Women on Amazon. Email me at al@alcoholic.com. You heard me right. That's ALCOLEHOLIC.com. And I really want to thank my CBS radio listeners for coming up with that handle, Alcoholic. Seems like from day one, my listeners have been saying, Al, we love what you're doing there, brother. In fact, we're hooked on it. We're alcoholics. So here we go in classic form with a swing of a golf club as she hosts another charity golf tournament for wildlife and another incomparable Rhonda Grant show. So all together, everybody, here's Rhonda.
Thank you for tuning in. You are listening to the Rhonda Grant Show right now, and I have many great guests on this show, and I have a great guest coming up. If you've been searching for a deeper meaning in your life, go to Amazon and pick up my book, Magical Forces Within. You know, we're all ordinary people having extraordinary experiences, and we have a fantastic guest on the show today, Jolee Patkai. Jolee is a singer-songwriter and actor from beautiful Kings County, Prince Edward Island, Canada. Jolee started singing before her first steps, growing up in a musical family where her mother played in a country band and she and her siblings did the concert circuit. After marrying and raising 3 sons with her husband, Julius, she began to return to her musical roots. With 2 CDs under her belt and numerous compilation CDs, she found herself performing from one end of the island to the other. From country Celtic, you can find her singing with treble with girls, lady singers of her century, and even on Facebook singing with her mother called simply Mommaandme. Currently, you'll find Jolee portraying Lorettalynn in her show called thelonglanehome. This particular show has been very well received by audiences and is sold out all summer. This very unique venue, Music at the Manse, is where the magic happens, where you will experience the life and story of Lorettalynn as she grows from a little country girl to the country legend we all know and love. Jolee says she enjoys walking in Loretta's footsteps, feels a special kinship with her songs, and gets super emotional as she portrays this woman she admires so much. Along with all that, it doesn't hurt that she gets to wear beautiful gowns and gets all dolled up. we're going to find out more about her extraordinary experiences. Hi, Jolee, and welcome to the Rhonda Grant Show.
Hi, Rhonda, and thank you so much for asking me to be on here.
You're welcome. Well, I've been following you on Facebook for a little while, and I especially love your the music that you sing with your mom, Mommaandme. On the Hill sometimes is where you're singing.
Yeah, that's where I was born and raised, in Burlington, Irish Town, right on the County Line Road. And the top of the hill is actually probably one of the higher points of our island. And if you can get our little rigs up the top of the hill, you get a beautiful panoramic view of the island and Long River. And it's a very good internet connection there.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that's good when you get all the way up there and you still have a good connection. That's awesome. Going to your show that you are doing right now, The Longlanehome, did you create that show, Jolee, or did you try out for that part and secure the part?
No, I didn't try out because in the past 7 years, I suppose, I've been part of a group called Lady Singers of Our Century, where I portray Lorettalynn, Crystal Gale, Dolly Parton, and even Emmylou Harris.
Nice.
And that, when COVID hit, that kind of all stopped. Like everything else, music and concert-wise, it all ended. So as things started to open up a little bit more this past 5 months, I guess, I was contacted by Tim Archer, who runs Music at the Manse. And he said, would you ever consider doing a show just yourself? And I said, well, I don't know who would come to see that, just me.
Aw.
Well, I mean, it would get kind of boring, right? If there was no harmony or anything. But we actually downloaded some beautiful bed tracks of Loretta's songs with the harmonies on them. And so, yeah, that's kind of where it took off. I kind of wrote the gist of it. I don't have a script per se. I kind of, as I go along from the young Loretta to as I age, and my makeup ages and everything, her outfits age, so does her story. So every song of hers has a story that's special to Loretta. And so I kind of do that. I don't go point. That would just be boring. I play Loretta. I am Loretta. So when I come out there, I'm speaking like her. I dress like her. I tease the men in the audience an awful lot because a lot of her songs are giving them all heck, but she says sometimes you just need a little slap upside of the head, those men.
Oh dear. Back when you got away with stuff like that, eh? And so the early country music singer-songwriters wrote about their lives. The music is so emotional because they actually lived those stories that they sang about. And so what are some of the songs that you sing during that show?
Well, I do. Well, most of her big ones, I suppose. Don't Come Home a Drinking.
Yes.
Behind that. Coal Miner's Daughter, of course, because that's the story of her life. One's on the Way. That's a good old one.
Oh, yeah.
Fist City. It's like telling a girl to lay off or she's going to meet your fist. I do a couple that I actually just learned. One is called Where I Learned to Pray. It's a song she wrote about growing up in Butcher Holler, where they did not have a church, but they were all very people. So their school became their church. So Where I Learned to Pray was in the little one-room school that became a church on Sunday. That has a nice story to it. Somebody Somewhere actually is one of her songs that I just love. And I usually sing that after Love is a Foundation, which is a song she sang for her husband when he was ill and not doing well. It's about, love is not perfect, but does that mean it isn't love? Because their marriage was probably not an easy one, but they loved each other very much, and they were married for 48 years once he died. So when he died, the song that I sing next is Somebody Somewhere, because even though, for Loretta, she's like I speak, a lot of people get the second chance at love, that another person may come into their life that fills that loneliness. But for her, that didn't happen. He was her one and only. So Somebody Somewhere Don't Know What He's Missing Tonight is a song that I sing, and it makes me tear up every time. And if you look out in the audience, everyone is their eyes are just swimming. So, yeah.
I didn't know the story behind that song.
Yeah. It's have you heard it? Have you ever heard
it? Yes, I have heard it. Yeah. But what I'm doing is, since I talked to you last, I keep on singing in my head the choruses of some of the songs. I don't know all the words to the songs, other than Coal Miner's Daughter. But but I've heard that song and I sing the chorus in my head. But I didn't realize the meaning of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I take from it. And I watched her sing it on YouTube, and it's just, I don't know, it just hits me every time. But yeah. And then the last song one of the last songs she probably recorded was the one she did with Willie Nelson called Lay Me Down, which is how I ended the show before coming back and singing Coal Miner's Daughter, because it talks about at the end of our life, we just want to go peacefully and be happy and proud of what we've done, and that end of life, you can go peacefully. Yeah. Lay me down. That's a beautiful one too. Not old, it's kind of new. But
yeah, I love that one for sure. She's had a wonderful run as a singer-songwriter. And I mean, it spans generations, right?
It does. And when she left her little country home there and headed to Nashville, I mean, that was quite a big jump for her. And she was very fortunate to find a friend in Patsy Cline, because she helped her through all the transitions and taught her how to dress. And when she died so suddenly, that was very hard for her, but she kept the lessons she was taught in her head, and it kept her grounded and she was so scared that she was going to just get taken right over by the bigwigs in Nashville. But she didn't. She learned enough through Patsy, and she had a pretty good, strong head on her shoulder and a strong faith. And so she did very well. I tell you, she was quite a worker. She said, it's my work and I love it, and I'll do it as long as I can,
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long is the show? Is it a couple hours?
Yeah, doors open at 6. It starts at 7, and it's usually 9:30 it's finished. So it starts out, I do four costume changes, and my husband Julius is my doolittle. And
yes.
I call him out every once in a while through the performance. He gets me in and out of my dresses, because if he didn't, I'd still be wearing them. But so it's about 2.5 hours, and there's an intermission. And as I say, I have to run off and I do a change and I come back. And while I'm changing, then the gentleman that it's kind of like the MC, he'll do a little story about Loretta, or he might even sing a song, something like that. He plays my Conway for a couple of songs. He's an awesome singer himself. So he played. I said, "You all going to listen to Conway now while I go get changed." But it keeps everything flowing, so it's not. There's no dead air. And the show begins with a little mini movie that we did. We had a little young lady from I think Holland College or UP. I'm not sure. And she actually did a movie where I'm sitting down, and I don't know if you've ever seen the one where Loretta, she's just speaking, Coal Miner's Daughter. She's talking, she's not singing it. And I did the same. I dressed in her as her, and I sat down and I just did it all. So that's kind of starts the show. And then I end it by singing that. So it kind of brings it full circle.
And do you ever get really emotional while you're singing a song and have to really concentrate on not crying?
Oh, yeah. And I tell you, what makes it hard is because this is a very personal little venue. 34 people is the max that you can put into it. So you're it's nobody's crowded. It's all distanced properly, but it's a smaller venue. So it's more
intimate.
That's the word I'm looking for. You can see people. It's not like you're sometimes it's harder to play to a smaller group than stand on stage and have hundreds of people in front of you, you know.
Oh, yes.
Or even if I was in a living room, someone's living room, and said, "Oh, Jolee, could you sing me a song?" I go, "Oh, really? You don't want to hear me." I get very self-conscious, you know. I'd
Oh,
rather
yes.
a group. But I'm really enjoying this experience. I just find that people are just loving it, and they're swaying right into it. Like, and they'll come up after the show and say, "Oh," because they can, at the end, I invite anyone who wants to come up and get their picture taken with Loretta sitting on the settee in my living room. And they'll come up and there's just like, "Oh my God, you sound so much like Loretta." I said, "Well, I would never say that I'd sound and look like Loretta, but I do my best. And I'm glad that you're taking that away with you, that it's something, experience you enjoyed, because at the end of the day, that's all you want, you know? I mean, you want people that come to see you to walk away or thinking, "No, that wasn't an evening that I wasted. That was good time spent." So that makes me happy.
But it's all inclusive when you allow anybody in the audience to come up and have a picture taken with you. Because in big shows, you just don't have that intimacy with your listeners.
No, and I know when we did our Ladies of the Century show, we'd say, now if everybody, this was before COVID, of course, everybody would just remain in their seats. We'd like to go to the end of the hall and as you leave, you know, say goodbye and thank you for coming, and they will. But I mean, in this situation, it's a smaller venue, so it's easier for folks to come and tell you how if they enjoyed it, or, you know, "Oh, we're coming back, we're bringing friends," or, you know, I always say, if you like what you experienced, then, you know, tell a friend and maybe come on back, you know.
But it seems to,
as long as we can. But I mean, we have 3 more shows in August, and if people are wanting to have more, then we will add some dates. But we're not at this point. We're just sticking with what we have.
And you're sold out each Saturday, right?
It's not always no, it's never a Saturday. It's usually Thursdays, Sundays. Thursdays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The 6th of August fell on a Friday, but we tried Thursdays and Sundays. It just kind of works. It seems people enjoy those evenings, you know. It's not midweek, and and Sunday's kind of a relaxing day. People like to come to an evening show, and it's not like it's late. So you're not making people stay out till 11 o'clock. I mean, people are saying goodbye and leaving by 9:30. So it's still pretty doable for anybody, even if they have to get up in the morning to work, you know.
So what other artists do you cover?
Well, I have covered, not at the moment because of COVID. This is
right. Yeah.
Kind of involved in, but I have done Loretta's sister, Crystal Gale, and Emmylou Harris. I've been told many times I look like Emmylou. I think it's because I have long dark hair and cheekbones. I don't know.
Yes.
Straighten your hair and it can change the look of you, you know. I have a lovely little makeup artist, Sarah Shred, and she takes me from a young Loretta, and then at the halftime she adds the lashes, and I become the older Loretta, more glamorous, I guess. She learned to, you know, dress more fancy. And yeah, and I actually, believe it or not, I have done Dolly Parton.
Yes.
Got the wig online and everything, and the bigger bra. You have to in a little ways, you know, like you got to help yourself out a little bit, but it's a lot of fun. I thought, I don't know if I can do Dolly. I mean, I can sing Dolly. I love Dolly.
So what songs of Dolly's do you sing?
I do Coat of Many Colors. I do 9 to 5, Yellow Roses.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, a few. Because normally when I do her, I'm also doing usually 2 ladies I portray. I portray someone in the first half, then I change my persona and I portray someone else in the second half. The first half I have maybe 4 songs, second half 3, something like that. That's when we were doing those shows.
But you also have sang on the Pictou Ferry.
Well, yeah, it's called Music on Deck. It's a program that's been going on for probably 15 years.
Nice.
I board the ferry here at Wood Islands. It's usually the 1 o'clock ferry you get on, and you set up the sound system and you sing a set going over and a set coming back. And on the other side, it's a Nova Scotia artists. So the one
Okay.
crossing Music on Deck, it's like one side is Nova Scotia and the other side is the island, and it's great. I mean, because you're welcoming, and I like it because I use it as a way to welcome people to the island. So I sing a lot of island songs and from artists that are on the island, and just some good old country and a little Celtic, and yeah, it's a really fun gig. I'm missing it. We didn't have it last year, and we haven't had it this year yet. I'm hoping that next year it's back.
I do too, because that would be a really good venue for people that are taking the ferry. We've only taken it once, and as we talked, we took it in the morning, so I didn't get to see you. But that would have been interesting if I would have seen you singing on that ferry, and then a couple of years later interviewing you on the Rhonda Grant show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would have said, well, why didn't you come and say hello?
Yes, I know. But I mean, though, and actually I would have, if you would have been playing and if I loved you, I would certainly be wanting to talk with you for sure. Because as you know, I'm also a singer-songwriter myself, and, and have covered many songs. And I find sometimes when I've been singing on stage that I really get emotional with some songs that I sing. And I have to really be careful that I don't just start crying. And I could still play my guitar during the crying, but there'd be no singing, right? So I just wondered what that was like for you, because it is easy to lose yourself in song. And that's a feeling that people want. They want to feel what you're feeling when you're singing that song, because anybody can sing a song.
Right. Well, I think maybe I'm not, when I get emotional like that, I am portraying, for instance, with the Loretta show. Yes, I am portraying Loretta, and I feel the things that she must have felt when she was going through certain parts of her life and career. But I'm not acting the emotional part, because it does get you, I mean, there's one that if I could only hear my mama pray again.
Yes.
She loved her mom so much, and her mom was such a
like a stability for her.
Yes, and she was very spiritual lady, and
okay.
So when the songs talks about, if I could only hear my mama pray again, if I could only hear her voice, like back then, happy I would mean so much to me if I could hear my mama pray again. Of course, you talk about, about your parents. I get emotional. I love my mom and dad.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my dad has passed, but look, listen to me. See what you made me do?
Yeah. Well, the thing I just thought I'd touch on something, but I cannot sing Coat of Many Colors.
Really?
I can't sing it in front of people. I get very emotional.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, it's part of it. I mean, we're human, right?
Right.
And it's part of it. So I never covered that song on stage. But there's lots of songs that I've covered that, they are quite emotional, and it's pretty tough sometimes to get through them. And if they're way too tough, then you've got to remove them, because
if you can get you can get in that place, but then you kind of just got to get above it. You got to rise above it. And above all, if there's someone in the audience who's really, really connecting to the song, do not look at them.
No looking.
Don't look at them. You catch their eye, it's just like, oh, I'm gone. But I'm pretty good at just kind of dissing myself. I tend to have my emotional time just before. And then I just kind of talk it through, because I'm telling a story. And then I just kind of, now I can sing it. Kind of have to. I was looking at this list now of the Emmylou songs you were asking me about.
Yes.
Making Believe.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and Beneath Still Waters. Those are the two that I had sung of hers in the show, because she was the second part. What else, honey? Is more in there?
And when you're with Trouble with Girls, do you do 3-part harmonies? Do you do the Emmy Lou, Dolly, and
No, our treble group is Celtic mostly.
Oh, it's Celtic. Okay, I get it.
But I was in a trio. We did about 3 or 4 shows, Keelan Glyden and Marcella Richard. And yes, we did those 3-part harmonies. And I think I had about a couple of them up on YouTube, don't I, Julius? Talking to Doolittle here. I call him my do, but it's Julius.
Yes.
Yeah, so we did some really nice 3-part harmony. With our treble group, we do 3-part harmony, but it's Celtic songs we do.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are just a cappella, like The Parting Glass. I don't know if you're familiar with The Parting Glass. It's an old Irish way to end an evening or a gathering, and it's just done a cappella. So
beautiful.
Yeah. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Was there anyone or anything that was instrumental to what you're doing today?
Well, like when I grew up in a musical family, my dad couldn't sing, but he could dance like crazy.
Wow.
But he was the guy that would be at the back of the hall telling us if if we were tuned or if we were too loud, or, he knew what sounded good. He just couldn't sing. But as by myself, I always seemed to think I knew that I could sing, but I didn't have the confidence to do it myself. Like I would rather have someone there with me. I had to work through that. I find now I can kind of relax a little more. I'm always nervous before any performance. I think that's, if you're not nervous, you've been doing it too long, I think. And but I'm able to interact better and have nice feedback and I don't, just interaction. It's coming easier for me. I'm finding that I have to, sometimes you have to put yourself in an uncomfortable situations, like even music on deck, because you're all by yourself. You're just singing yourself. There's no harmony. You're just your guitar and you. It's very raw music. And that was hard for me to do. I always used to do it with a partner or, at least one other person. And then I just said, you know what, I got to make that leap. I've got to do that, because if I don't, I'm not going to grow as an artist. I'm not going to be able to take it any further. So I just put myself out there and now I can do that. I feel sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone and just go for it. I mean, they're either going to love you or like you. Like I said on the ferry, like, you're my captive audience. So the only way to get off of this boat is to jump overboard. So I don't think I have to.
Yeah. Exactly. But it's wonderful that you challenged yourself professionally like that, because a lot of people wouldn't do that. A lot of people wouldn't recognize, but there was part of you that you felt that you knew that you could do it, and you challenged yourself to do that.
And it's true. It's not always a comfortable place to be.
No.
But I think it makes you work harder. And I think it makes you strive to do better, because you don't have anybody else to fall back on. So you just do you do the best you can. And hopefully that it comes across that way. I had a show that I did based on a song that I wrote about my one-room schoolhouse that I went to as a child, and my dad and his dad and Infinity and Beyond went to. And I did a show called The One Room Schoolhouse, and it was just me. And I came in dressed as a school marm back in the days of the one-room school. I had everybody do recitations, and I took roll call, and I asked them questions, and I had history of the schoolhouses and songs that I'd written myself, songs that actually I used Lorettalynn's Where I Learned to Pray, because it's to do with the school, you see. And I was like nervous as heck, because it was just me, but it went over really well. And I was proud of myself at the end of it. I thought, and I had a full house again, and it was really well. That's something that I wanted to do again, but COVID hit and we had to kind of put it on a back burner. But then Lorettalynn, she came along. And so I am just loving the show. I'm having a great time. Sometimes I'm going right from my work. Do you want to know where I work?
You can tell us where you work if you want.
I work at the liquor store. Believe it or not, I come from the liquor store on at a 5 o'clock, and we drive to the manse. It's about a 45-minute drive here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sit down, put on my first outfit, and I let the little girl do my makeup, and that relaxes me so much. And then she does my hair, and then I'm ready for the show. That's awesome.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. You just go from, one thing to another, and you're really living your life, and you're truly gifted in so many ways. And I love that you have stepped into or activated your genius in knowing that you could do that one-room schoolhouse show yourself. You just organized everything, did everything, and that's incredible. And that's something definitely to be proud of, because as an artist, doesn't matter what artist you are, it's really difficult for many people to share their art with someone else, whatever that may be. And you're certainly multi-talented with your art, throwing it out to the world, to your audience, and hoping that they're going to enjoy being in your company and receive your gifts the way that you are giving them. And I just think it's wonderful that you're self-actualizing your gifts the way you are. But you're listening to the Rhonda Grant Show right now with my guest, Jolee Patkai. It's just been a fun time for sure. How many people contact you, Jolee?
How can they contact me?
Yeah, like if somebody wanted to contact you to find out how they could get tickets to the show, if somebody wanted to contact you to get one of your CDs, to find out what you're going to be up to next.
Okay. Well, as far as the show, the Lorettalynn Show, you can contact Music at the Manse. It's in Marshfield, Prince Edward Island, and the phone number is 1-902-213-2861. You can find me on Facebook, Jolee Patkai, and I have a web site called www.jolee.ca. The thing, you can go through the website if you wanted a CD. I have 2 under my belt. Going Home was my second one. My first one was Shore Rhapsody, and that was a kind of based around the my love of the ocean. We live on a beautiful island. You can go half hour in any direction and hit water. So anybody who doesn't love the ocean shouldn't live on Prince Edward Island.
Mm-hmm. I love Prince Edward Island.
Yes,
I miss it. I really miss it. Mm-hmm. My daughter lived there for a few years, and we really miss it. It was a wonderful place to be. And we went to some of the places to swim, and boy, it's cold, and the sand is really red.
Well, now we do have red soil, but we do have beautiful white sand beaches.
Mm-hmm.
I start swimming this year. I started swimming the 16th of May. And last year I swam till the 25th of November. So I guess my husband thinks I'm crazy, but I love it. It's my happy space. It's where I go to just refresh and relax. And so I guess to me, the water is not cold, but I'm a little crazy, I guess.
Well, you must be thick-skinned. I'm thin-skinned, and I recognize people that are thick-skinned. I'm very sensitive to hot and cold and all that sort of stuff. And some people, I feel things that people don't feel on my skin because it's so thin.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm like my grandmother. Do you feel like you've been called to your mission in life or your walk?
I think so. I mean, I think there are many people out there who are very talented, but they never go that extra little push to share it. But I've always felt that if I have something that I can share with someone who maybe is going through something hard in their life, or if something that some song that I've written strikes a chord in someone and makes them feel better, or just makes them happy, And some songs can make you sad. There's no doubt about it. I mean, all those old country songs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is my calling because I enjoy it. And it's not always easy for me to do. And I'll just say that because, like I say, I'm a very self-conscious person. I'm not a person that can go and sit alone in a restaurant by myself and eat unless I have a book.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm just like that. That's why I say I have to push myself out of my comfort zone. And then when I do, I grow.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, a lot of
I share with people things that, like they'll come up to me different places and say, we love Mama and Me. We just love listening to those videos. And that's something that I just started doing with my mom because with COVID, everything shut down and music makes everything better. I'm sorry, you can't go to church and without music would be dull. If there's no music score to a movie, it would be pretty flat and lifeless. And I just felt there was a need and people needed to hear some music. So I just went with my mama and we just started singing songs. We have quite a following and I don't do it to be, oh, look at me. That's not why I do it.
No, you can tell it's not about that. But what a beautiful collection of memories that you've put together with your mama. It's just beautiful. And I love it because, you'll say, okay, Mama, do you want to do the harmony or do you want me to do the harmony? And you do the lead, and sometimes it gets mixed up and it's just so real. And it's so beautiful that every time I come across one, I stop and I listen. Because it's really a friendly, warm, soulful thing to do. And I think a lot of people wish that they could just do something like that. Like your ability, you have a natural ability, and probably because you were raised in music or on music or with music. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people tend to follow that passion when they learn something really young and it's part of their life. Yes. But when you say about it's difficult for you, getting on the stage and doing all of that. A lot of artists are introverts and they don't like a whole lot of attention and things like that. And they do their best work. And people don't realize the amount of work that you've had to put into this to be as great as you are, that has sold out shows, sang from one side of the island to the other. I mean, it takes a lot of work to learn a song and all the chords and get it right and be tuned and do everything perfectly. So it's almost automatic by the time you get up to the mic or get up to the show. And there's a lot of people that would do a lot of things if they didn't have to put in all of those hours of practice, because there's not a lot of people that can commit at that level. Well, and so I commend you for what you are doing, what you continue to do, and to share your gifts with the people that come to see you, because it really is, you're sharing your love of music and your love of the country artists. Those people are taking home, and they'll remember that and talk about that whenever they can to anybody. And that's why you're successful.
Well, I try to do my best, and I think it's important to be humble.
It is important to be humble. And
because
that's what makes you great, is because you're humble.
Like I'm not, maybe that sounds not very humble thing to say, but what I'm saying is, I think you have to appreciate when people come out to see you, they're taking their time, they're choosing to spend that evening or that hour or whatever, or even just that little 5 minutes on FaceTime, Facebook with you. They could be doing anything else, right? So it's an honor. I feel
it's
honored.
humbling. It's humbling.
Yeah.
It is humbling that people are coming out to watch you do what you do. It is very humbling. And I think it's great. And whenever I see you, I don't feel that there's any ego there at all. You're so real. I wish there was more of you.
I am a real person.
More people like you. More people like you. What extraordinary discovery have you found in your life, Jolee?
Well, I guess just the fact that I can do something I love,
And maybe even love it.
or maybe even love it. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't want to say that, but I mean, everybody has different tastes. So, I mean, some people might not even want to even listen to this kind of things that I do, or the type of songs that I sing. I mean, I have written a lot of original songs too, and kind of like Loretta, they all kind of stem from something that I've gone through in my life, or somewhere I've been, or someone I've met, or so it means something. I don't know. I love it, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm glad that folks are enjoying it too. So I guess that's what I take from it. And I know when folks go away from a show, they said, I remember when that song came out.
Yes.
I remember what I was doing then. I almost forgot about that song. You brought it all back to me, and it was a certain time in my life that I was at a low point, or it's a time in my life that I was so happy, and so it brings people, it's memories.
It is memories. It's a window into people's past and where they were at that moment when they heard that song, learned how to sing that song. Maybe they play guitar too, and sat down and played it in their living room. I mean, a lot of people remember where they were when they heard certain things, especially news events. But a lot of people remember what they were doing when they were learning how to sing a song. I mean, I remember most of the time where I was when I was trying to sing a song, where I lived, who I was with, what the era was, and things like that. So you're tickling their past, right?
Right.
And so if it's really emotional, yeah, they're going to cry when they hear you sing that song, because you're bringing back a load of memories that they had tucked away that they didn't know were going to come to the surface.
Mm-hmm. And even some of the songs that I guess were kind of new to me, they're just because they weren't maybe the ones that I'm talking Loretta now.
Yes.
She didn't maybe sing as much in her big concerts. Like, if I could only hear my mama pray again. Well, when I talk about that, I think about my mom, and I talk a little bit about, how much we, because a lot of the audience are older, not everybody.
Yes.
I'm getting folks into it, which is really cool, because I'm not young, I mean, I'm almost 60. So, but
well, that's wonderful. You're just stepping into your best part.
I guess, the next 10 years, woohoo. No, it's, I'm enjoying it. I really am. I'm hoping that it'll go on for a little longer. I mean, as long as there's people who want to come to that type of a performance and kind of just get taken back in time, then we'll keep it going.
Yes. Well, if I was in Prince Edward Island, I would definitely come to your show. So I hope that you're going to be playing these types of venues for a long time, because I do. My husband and I really want to get back out and enjoy the food. One of the biggest things is the food, but we'll definitely, if you're doing a show, we'll come and see you. I want to thank you very much for being an extraordinary guest on my show, Jolee. I was so looking forward to interviewing you. We've had a fantastic time. So I thank you very much for your time.
Well, listen, I am just honored that you reached out to me, and I've enjoyed it immensely. And I haven't met you face to face, but I feel like I know you now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I feel like I know you too. It's through music, it's through art, and the songs that you sing, and I know the feeling of those songs. And I mean, it's a nice feeling to have. I've really appreciated having you on the show.
Well, thank you so much, Rhonda. It's been a pleasure.
I hope to talk soon.
And you take care. Bye now.
Theme song coming up for the Rhonda Grant Show, Sun on the Water, is composed and performed by my friend John Park Wheeler. This is Rhonda Grant with the Rhonda Grant Show, author of Magical Forces Within, Extraordinary Discoveries in an Ordinary Life, inviting you to look for the magical forces within yourself today and every day. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for tuning in to the Rhonda Grant Show with your host, Rhonda Grant. If you would like to find out more information about Rhonda and her upcoming guests and the work that she does, go to her website, rhondagrantauthor.com. That's rhondagrantauthor.com.